So we're going to talk about openers today, guys. I think it's a perfect opportunity for me to speak about this because what I've been witnessing recently in the CSA T20 challenge, it's not necessarily something that I'm really happy about so far. The openers haven't necessarily all of them, not all of them. Some of them have, some of them haven't. They've been struggling a little bit. I've seen that the Potch wicket is looking a little bit. Um, I think it's a little bit. I wouldn't say balanced yet because there's only been a couple of games that we've watched. 4 games over here at the ground with this one currently happening as I speak. And if I think about it, when I'm watching it, there's something in it for the spinners. There's something in it for the swing bowlers as well. So it's a tricky little wicket. It's not the best, easiest wickets to bat on. It looks like you need to get your eye in over here and pick your bowlers correctly, which ones you want to target, of course. I think that's very important as well. So there's a couple of things we need to look at with regards to openers. I'm going to speak to you guys, see what you guys have to say in the live chat. I'm going to speak about what I've learned, just basically what I've learned from watching openers and watching players over the last couple of years doing this. Um, Seeing what I've heard and what I've learned, and in interviews, etc. I'm going to be talking about that basically throughout the show. But before we get going, before we get started, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe and click that notification bell for all future videos, please. It's very important that you do so. Also, because we're constantly rising, guys, the subscriber base is climbing quite nicely and steadily. So please keep it going, keep it moving. We're on the road for 4,000 subscribers now, guys. So get involved, get us to that 4,000 mark. Share it everywhere. Even if you guys can do me a favor and take some clips of what we are doing and post it online and tag us in it. That will help us a lot because then we can share it to our profile too, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Twitter, wherever you want to do it. Tag us in it so we can retweet it and reshare it. Put the link in, obviously, of the video where people can watch the full videos. If you guys can do that for us, that will really help us increase our subscriber base a hell of a lot. So please go ahead and do that too. Share our content, guys, please, if you can. You can also download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine. This is our free gift to you. For all the support that you guys give us, we give you a free magazine every single month. You can go to the link on the screen as well as in the description, and you can download the latest issue as well as all the back issues you'll have access to. So please get involved with that as well. And if you really want to support us and you really want to support cricket in South Africa, please become a patron today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. We'll be using whatever you guys give to us to put back into the business, put back into South African cricket, etc., so that we can help South African cricket grow and help promote South African cricket continuously. So please get involved with the Patron account. And if you want regular updates and you want articles and you want features and opinion pieces, etc., go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. We also have a PayPal account if you want to give any donations. My PayPal account is linked in at the bottom as well. So, guys, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to having this discussion with you. Let's get into it. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. Now, as we speak, there is currently a CSA T20 challenge match happening. There was one earlier, but it was stopped by rain. And in that particular match, it shows on this particular pitch, it's looking like this pitch is getting more difficult to bat on. Yesterday, we saw a match between the Titans and the Dolphins, and we saw the likes of Grant Rulofson, and we saw the likes of Deva Brevis put on performances. But so far, it has been a struggle for majority of the openers that have played so far. It's not necessarily been an easy ride for the openers, and I think that the problems in South African cricket has been highlighted a bit. I had this conversation about our batters playing swing with Dane Patterson. I asked him some questions about what he's learned about swing bowling, obviously in his time in England. There's an exclusive interview on this channel that we will give you the information, but he gave me some extra tips, some tips on what he's learned as a swing bowler. And Not only does South Africa have a situation where I felt before we never had the same standards of bowlers in our domestic system consistently a couple of years ago. Now we're starting to see a lot more players coming through, younger guys that have the right pace and the movement and they're bowling with attitude, etc. But when you have a bowler, for example, like Fariska Adams, and I watched him bowl today for so far for the Rocks. The way he's moving that ball around, this is exactly what our openers and our top order batters need to face guys like Frisco Adams. That is moving the ball around with ease, and it will help them. I feel a lot to try and learn that because we can see. I mean, even if you look at someone like I know I don't want to highlight players specifically too much, but if you look at Calvareno today in his innings, the way he lost his wicket, it's similar to what we see when he plays for South Africa. Minimum foot movement, sweeping outside with no foot movement, obviously pushing away from the body and then nicking off. So that is something that we can have a look at. But if I look at every single game so far, so I'm going to start with, for example, let me share it with you so that we can look at it together. Um, I think that's a better option for you guys if I can actually do that. Don't want audio, and I want this one here. Cool. So, for example, in this particular match between the Titans and the Dolphins, Deva Previs opened, and he showed how he is going to approach the game. So, Dewald batted completely differently to what some other openers have tried to do. I've seen that a lot of our openers have tried to come in and bat positively. I don't think this wicket is conducive for that, and I think that's the reason why we're finding ourselves with teams down three before the 11th, 12th over, and losing quick wickets. Now, we see Neil Brandt struggled. Bosch took his wicket, of course. There was some swing in the wicket and movement in the wicket, but there was also pace. But Deva Breva showed us basically how you approach it. At first, yes, Deva also lost his wicket, but I think if you look at Rulofson's innings later on, I think that was almost like a blueprint of how you want to open on this particular wicket. The way Dewald started, he was a little bit nervy. And I think a lot of our younger players will probably struggle with that and will be a little bit nervy, unfortunately. That will be part of that will obviously be part of it. We don't know if these guys will improve as time goes along. I'm hoping that they will and learn from that. And in the next games, as the pitch deteriorates more, or when they switch to another strip, maybe it might not be as much movement as this. But as you see over here, even the Dolphins, even with Rudolfsson, they struggled. They were down. They also lost 3 wickets before the 11th over, as I said. And then if I move on to the next match between the Lions and Northwest, what a match that was! We know that it was a cracker. We know that was an absolute cracker of a match. And it had a lot to do with guys coming in the middle of or in overs and performing. Um, just struggling here with this. People coming in the middle overs and performing and kicking on. We saw that with quite a few of the batters. But if I look at the Lions now, which I'm going to pull up on the screen as well, there's Ryan Rickleton, Cameron Dalport, Dom Hendricks all struggled on this wicket. And it took some excellent middle order batting from Vian Mulder in this T20 game and Evan Jones to put on a partnership to actually get the Lions to a decent total. But there again, you're looking at the bottom of the screen over here, 3 down before the 10th over. Again, before the 11th over, I know I use the 11th over as a ballpark figure, but you can use it around about the 10 overs. But this was before the 7th over and was before the 8th over. At the start of the 8th over, they lost their 3rd wicket. So that's another one over there that from the Lions perspective. And then you look at the Dolphins as well, also down 3. I'm looking at it over here before the 8th over. So before the end of the 8th over. So 3 down for 53, struggling on this wicket to get runs in the power play. And this is an indication of the struggles that we are seeing in the national team. because it's happening also now in the domestic scene as well. We're looking at all the games that were played, um, bar maybe the Titans, you could say perhaps struggling to get runs in that power play. So this is an indication of a struggle that South African batters are currently having in T20 cricket. It's to maximize the power play as best as possible. When I look at the Warriors and I look at their scorecard as the Warriors versus the Knights, and I look at their scorecard too, they also struggled. I watched this game as well. I was watching this game live. They also struggled to get the ball out the um, over the circle and to get the ball away. They struggled to get runs on the board early. They lost wickets early, and it's more the it's not really the run rates necessarily, because the run rates seem to be good after the power play. It seems okay. It's not terrible after the power play, but it's the wickets problem. Over here, you can see with the Warriors too. I mean, they lost 3 wickets as well before this time before the ninth over. So all before the 10th over, bar the Titans. And it took an excellent half century from Jordan Herman to get them to a okay total. The rest of the team obviously collapsed as well. Doesn't help that as well. And then if you look at the Knights' reply, same situation. 3 down, but and even worse over here, 3 down after 2.5 overs. So there's definitely a pattern over here that we're seeing, a struggle that we're seeing amongst our South African batters. And hats off to Sinner and Mutasami, of course, yesterday. But there's a common struggle amongst our batters over here. At least that shows that our bowlers are skillful enough to take wickets early. That's a good thing. That means that they are good enough to be able to test these batters to the best of our ability. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for South Africa to figure out that there's an issue. I hope that the South African franchises figure out that there is an issue with us building partnerships in the power play, and without the loss of wickets and without the loss of flurry of wickets. So currently there is a problem, I think, in South Africa with regards to that. I don't know if you guys agree with me or disagree with me, but I don't know if it's a sense of having to maybe play the ball later. Because today, when I was watching Abdallah Bayumi, yes, he went out for only 3, and he's a young 18-year-old boy, someone that I know quite a bit about. Um, I watched his approach. Debut in franchise cricket, playing for Western Province, stood very deep in his crease, extremely deep in his crease, and first ball he got, cut it for a single. Aimed to do that and got away and made the single. He got dismissed by an excellent delivery from Imran Manak. The ball spun from fifth stump in and knocked his over his stump. So it was an incredible delivery. I can't really blame him, but I think the approach and what I was seeing, the calmness and the approach. I was talking yesterday about intentional singles, playing the ball with the intent to rotate the strike. I was seeing that today from Western Province. I wasn't seeing them necessarily just trying to hit the ball hard and then the ball just skews to the field and then they take a single. A lot of the singles were meant. And on wickets like this, when it is turning, when it is swinging, when the ball is nipping off the seam as well and keeping low too, because Farisco Adam and Tletle, both of them are very skiddy bowlers from the Paul Rocks, and the ball was keeping quite low with regards to them and making it very difficult for the batters to manipulate the ball and put it through the field. So, and to clear the boundary, because you saw with, like, for example, Daniel Smith just skewed it slightly and it went straight to the fielder. So I'm hoping that the lessons will be learned, and I'm hoping that I'll see an improvement in this. In this tournament from the top order batters, particularly the top 3. I would like to see our power plays, um, more positive power plays, obviously going forward. We and My major concern with regards to our openers in our country is playing in difficult spinning conditions or swinging conditions when the ball is nipping around. I think that's a problem South African batters have. If you even look in the national side, in all formats, that ball moving around seems to be a problem. Adapting their personal game plans to that situation is a problem, I feel, for some batters in the country. And it's something that maybe need to learn, or something they need to pick up, or someone they need to maybe speak to learn to add that maybe to their game. Maybe perhaps it's also just form, or a good delivery as well. uh, Majority of the time you will be getting good deliveries when the ball is new and you're running in T20 cricket. And I know it's probably the hot seat, and it's the most difficult job probably in T20 cricket. I think is the opening, the batting. So, but I do still think that there's a problem with our youngsters because it's a continuous thing. It's not only is it the senior players that are doing the same things, but I'm seeing youngsters coming through from our school system also struggle with that. So I don't know what the answer is to fix it. We have an article coming out in the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine with Eric Simons talking about batting. Let's see if he answers some of the questions in that particular issue. I've tried to figure out that as well. It's a conversation that I've been having with a lot of people within the cricket space, coaches, etc., players, asking them what their problem is with regards to that. Is it foot movement? Is it maybe where they're standing in the crease? Do they stand off, middle, leg? Do they stand deep in their crease? Do they stand out of their crease? What is the best way to play swing or to handle that? Because when you're playing a World Cup tournament, for example, you're going to be facing, like, for example, South Africa. We're going to be facing all the subcontinent teams, and a lot of them are swinging the ball quite nicely. A lot of them have bowlers that can swing the ball quite nicely with a new ball. Um, so it's something that we need to learn because the world at the moment, if you look around world cricket, everybody has some brilliant bowlers that can manipulate the ball and the movement of the ball. So it's very important that we find ways to improve as openers. But what makes a good opener? That's obviously the main question. And that's something that we need to obviously get to. For me, an opener, what makes a good opener, particularly in T20 cricket, is the ability to be able to adapt. Now, some people may say being able to clear the ring, smash the ball to the boundary and score quick in the power play. Yes, but I think that patience is very important. And I also think that being able to adapt is very important because you're not always going to get a T20 wicket that is equal or that is even or that is fair. A lot of the time we've seen in T20 cricket, actually, wickets favor one side, actually. It ends up being that way because they have the bowlers and the skills in the team to be able to get the best out of the conditions and to be able to force batters to play the ball, etc. Now that ball swinging into the stumps from off, and also the ball swinging away from the batter from leg, from off, is a problem for South Africa. We tend to swing outside the line or swing away from our body and end up nicking or skewing the delivery. So it's something that we need to learn. Our openers need to be patient, and I think that what will help our openers, because we have a lot of athletic players in our country. Majority of our batters are athletic, fit, fast, quick between the wickets, etc. So I suggest maybe if you are missing a couple of balls outside off, and maybe your defenses is not working for you and they're missing the edge, go and knock the ball into the caps and take singles. Get your running game better, so that at least you can. The more you run between the wickets, the more pressure you put on the bowler because the bowler doesn't get to settle. Dot balls helps the bowler to settle and set up a batter. And in openers particularly are facing our openers particularly are facing a lot of dot deliveries, which is a problem. I feel reduce the dots is very important, but you can do that by running between the wickets. Like I said, I was very impressed with the first delivery that Abdullah Bayomi faced. The ball was swinging away from me, and he just nicked it into the corner and took a single. It's the right man. It's the right thing. Nicking it off the into third man and then taking a single. So I hope that they learn how to do that more often. Sometimes just playing a delicate shot to get the off strike, to put your partner on strike, and then continue that a couple of balls will set the bowler off, and you might get a ball that strays because now the bowler is going to change his line to stop the single from happening, and he might miss his line, and then it's an excellent opportunity for you to get a boundary. But at least then you've got some runs to start off the over. So those type of things I think is very important when it comes to opening the batting. I think another thing maybe that they can that might be able to to get batters to play better in difficult positions is to keep the ball down. I know it's obviously very tempting to try and clear the the circle, because that's what people try to do in the power play. The power play was invented for that, to create that temptation for batters to swing and try to clear the ring. So sometimes good cricket shots when the circle's up is also good, because the bowlers in the circle, the fielders in the circle sometimes can't react enough or quick enough to be able to stop off a ball that's coming hard at them and low. So that's also another option for openers to maybe keep the ball down, and if they're finding that they're struggling to read the lines and the links, and that can sometimes happen. You can come before a match and you can look at the strip and you can think it's going to play a certain way, and then you in the middle and the ball's coming your way and it's not doing what you thought it was going to do. So then you need to adapt your game, and that's why I say adaptability is so important for opening batters. When I'm looking at South Africa currently, our openers have the same problem. How many times has Quinn de Cox swung outside the line and nicked off recent times? I can mention it in recent times. No foot movement, swinging out lazily outside the off stump and then nicking the ball. So if it's going to be Pavuma that's going to open, Pavuma has been struggling with that moving delivery as well, especially balls angling in at his stumps. So that is a issue. And if you're going to play with Riza has been handling it quite well. I feel that Riza has been reading the ball and the movement of the ball quite well. The way he's adapted his stance as well. I've seen a change in his stance. Um, he's a lot more square, I feel, and ready for attacking deliveries. His approach and confidence is right there. He comes out with positive intent, and he takes risks, but calculated risks, and I like that. So those are some of the tips that I would probably think of that I've heard from players, that I've heard from coaches over the years when they talk to their openers, etc. Patience is a virtue, guys. Patience is so important with regards to T20 cricket as well. I know that the hype of the game makes you feel that you need to hit every single ball for six, but that's not doesn't need to be the case. You need to also bat smart, and that's why smart is very important. The conditions are important. Sometimes you can't play that attacking brand of cricket, and you need to adapt your game. So I think what makes a good opener, and if I have to use one particular thing and one particular attribute that makes a good opener, and that will be adaptability. I would like to know what you guys think, though. So let me know in the comment section after the show, what you guys think as well. Let me get into some of the comment section and see what you guys have to say. Good openers is one rotate strike, doesn't play dot balls and scores fast when needed. Pavuma doesn't have any of the straight. You don't have to highlight that every single time, bro. Every time you come on the stream, you have to mention that Pavuma mustn't play. Let's talk about some other things. Tony Lizorzi, a class batsman. I urge all Bavuma fans to support and back this young black talented batsman. Tony Lizorzi is very talented, and I agree with you. Did an interview with Tony Lizorzi. It's on the channel right now. It is live on the channel. Go and watch it. Give some excellent insight into his game. I liked his approach today. He was really, really good today. But the ball delivery, I like the confidence. I like the running between the wickets. He looked confident. He looked stern. But that delivery from Verisco, even the best batter wouldn't be able to have hit that ball. That ball swung in the air, tremendous. I watched that line. It almost swung around like this in a circle, almost like Wanted. I don't know if you guys watched the movie Wanted with Angelina Jolie and Morgan Freeman in them. When they shoot the bullet around and think that it curves. I know it's fake, but it was still cool. But yeah, that ball moved like that in the air. It was incredible. I was watching Fedisco. I don't understand how Fedisco hasn't made it into the SAA sides and the Proteas side. I mean, he would have been the perfect replacement actually for Dwayne Pretorius. A call up for him would have been phenomenal. I mean, he can bat, he can bowl, he can swing, he bowl is a mean Yorker. He's calm under pressure. That's why they call him the Iceman. I mean, it's actually blasphemy. Khalid, why do teams are not playing long format players like Dominic Hendricks and McQuena in T20 Challenge? McQuena was actually very good in the T20s last season. Should give chances to youngsters instead of them. Glad Titans picked youngsters ahead of for Alga. Do you think Rullerson might take Verena's place in the test team? I don't see them as very similar batters, to be honest. But I mean, at the moment, with the way the test setup is currently, I think South Africa is going to be testing a lot of things, and I think their selection is going to be going to be reliant on, or it has been reliant on, experience and performance in domestic cricket. So let's see, because I mean, I'm a big fan of both players, and I like what both offer. I like both of the attitudes. Personality wise, they're great people as well, excellent humans as well. So generally speaking, they both are very talented players. I wonder what's going to happen, because I feel that they'll probably only select Rulison after this 4 day series if they're going to pick him in because he had a very injury riddled season last season. It wasn't the most smoothest seasons for him last season. He really struggled with injuries. So maybe Rulison will come good this time around and get more game time. Sheldon Mutasali's bowling figures doesn't suggest how well he bowled. Many drop catches off his bowling. Very true, bro. Very true. Jordan Herman looks very good, fearless batsman, very impressive player. He is a very impressive player. We've been looking at him for quite some time. Obviously, Werner has been a big fan of his for a while as well. So I miss Werner. Where's Werner, guys? Go tag Werner and ask him where he is. I haven't seen him on these streams in a very long time. Shaina Freedy versus SA opening pair. It's going to give us problems, guys. And that's the problem. We're going to face a lot of bowlers that can actually swing the ball in our group, unfortunately. Muller and Markram are our best adaptable batters. They are very adaptable. I mean, it would have been that's why I thought they would go with Aiden as an opener, the left and right hand combination. Because, I mean, Aiden's the most adaptable at the moment in this team. He's been reading the conditions exceptionally well. What's been getting him out is more him trying to push, be more aggressive and then losing his wicket. SA batters need to play well against the Pakistan Pacers opening spells, which will be played in Sydney. That is similar to the subcontinent. Ooh. Quentin de Kock doesn't get trouble against pace and swing, but instead edges his biggest enemy. Pavuma will have to play really well against Pakistan Pacers. Khalid, the power play batting this World Cup will be a challenge, I feel, especially in night games. From what I've seen so far, almost every venue there's good pace and carry, swing and seam. If all goes well for Zimbabwe tomorrow, then our first game will be against them in Hobart on Monday instead of West Indies. Won't be easy. They have a very good bowling attack, and they do. And we need to be, like I said, very important that we are adaptable. That we need to be able to read the conditions and play smart cricket. You don't have to swing at every single delivery. There are also some things called straight drives that are and cuts and square drives that can also get you runs. So you don't have to go big every time. So I hope that they bat smartly when it comes to this. So, guys, that's the end of the episode. I've given my take on what I believe makes a good opener. You guys have given your say on what you guys believe is a good opener. Now, I want to hear from the guys that are watching this back. Please let me know in the comment section what you guys think makes a good opener. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click that notification bell for all future videos as well. Don't forget to also subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. Also, help us grow and promote South African cricket by becoming a patron today. Go to the link on the screen as well as in the description. Go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates as well. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for another daily show. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the cricket. You can watch it on DSTV, on Supersport. So go ahead and watch that now. You can at least get to watch Paul Rox's innings as well. So let's see how they do. Thanks a lot for watching. Peace out, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Cheers.